Apologies in advance if I butcher names in this review. High school can either be the peak of your youth or an absolute nightmare. You have to manage social pressures from your fellow students, as well as keep your grades up so that you can have a bright future. For students at high schools in Korea, these grades hold heavy weights, as they can bring either honor or shame upon your family. Enter Youngho, a high schooler who attends Sewa High School and has spent an all-nighter studying for his final exams. On his way to school, he notices ambulances outside of his school, taking away a student who committed suicide. After running into some of his classmates and his teacher, he enters his classroom to start his exams. While taking the first one, he begins to drowse off and eventually falls asleep for a second. When he wakes up, he's all alone in a dark classroom, thinking he slept through his exams. Stranger yet, his school is in a pitch black space with no way to contact the outside world. Even worse, he runs into his teacher, who does not seem to be the teacher he once knew and is out for blood. Welcome to the Coma Recut, a Korean-style horror side-scroller by Devspresso Games. Recut is an updated version of the original game Cutting Class, and features updated visuals, animations, and the new hiding mechanic. You play as Youngho, who must now navigate this haunted space and piece together what is happening and find his way out of this nightmare. You will investigate different areas of the school and find familiar characters that will help you get insight on your situation. You'll also find notes plastered around the halls and classrooms that give more background information on your situation, as well as some interesting tidbits about your school. You have items to collect to keep yourself healthy, and will need to dodge and hide from the looming threat of your teacher. With 2 endings to get, is the Coma Recut worth attending class for? Or should gamers just play hooky? For the purpose of this review, I am reviewing this game on PC via Steam. Now let's take a look at what works in the Coma Recut in the good. No weapons around. Many obstacles to avoid. If detected by the teacher, run! This game does very well in putting you in a terrifying situation, where one wrong move can spell death and a game over. One aspect that really shines is the use of sound for cues when a hazard is nearby, and binaural audio to listen in on nearby threats, such as your teacher who walks the halls searching for her next victim. You. The game will keep you on your toes and reconsider whether or not to use your flashlight, which will give away your position. As the game progresses, the school will become more warped, where things will no longer make sense and really send chills down your spine. Assisting in this discomfort is the art style, which uses strong lines to detail character emotions, as well as the grotesque things you find wandering the halls. One aspect I didn't think would interest me at first was finding random notes around the school, but when put together with others, you will paint a picture of some of the things that went on in this school. It was interesting uncovering different scandals around, including a blackmail scandal between the principal and the nurse. You will also get nice glimpses on some of the student life when it comes to social standings and their bully culture. Another thing I like about this game is that it has 2 endings, which encourages multiple playthroughs so you can explore the school more and find hidden secrets you didn't find the first time around. Even though this does encourage replaying the game, the way it's implemented leaves a lot to be desired. So now is a nice time to send this game into detention as we look at the bad. About the 2 endings. While it does encourage more exploration of the school, the requirements for the true end are very specific, and you will have to complete certain tasks in a certain order to unlock the true ending, which makes things tedious. For example, one side quest has you start at the 3rd big location in the game, then makes you backtrack to the first area of the game, only to return to the starting area of the 3rd location. There's no way to just grab what you need early on and bring it with you later for the quest. you have to trigger it in the third location first. Another side quest has you go to another faculty room for a key, which sounds simple enough, but before you fulfill that request, you have to use it on a specific door or else you're locked out of the true ending. If players don't know about that requirement, they would be left scratching their head on what they need to do since the game gives the vaguest of hints on the requirements. Speaking of the game being vague, this also extends to the tutorial where the game doesn't spell out everything you need to know and opts to use illustrations. That's fine in itself, but some illustrations, like the hazard ones, will leave you scratching your head until you actually run into the hazard and learn things the hard way. One annoyance that becomes apparent early on is the lack of inventory space in your backpack. You can only carry 6 items at a time, and when you need a specific item for certain things like curing bleeding and poison, having only 6 slots starts to become an annoyance, especially when you find many items scattered around. Another thing that doesn't help is that there's no storage in the game to keep some of the excess items you have in case you need it later, which makes managing your inventory a complete headache. While we're still talking about items, I hate how you can't map a specific item to a hotkey and you can only use it when you open up your bag. This is a problem since the game does not pause when you check your backpack, so if you're being chased and running out of stamina, you have to quickly jump into your bag and hope you select the item you need before the teacher comes around and kills you. Speaking of dying, there's no checkpoint system in the game. If you die, you have to reload your save file, which in some cases can set you back either a couple of minutes or almost an hour where you have to redo large sections of the game. Another annoying thing is the map, which does not mark anything you encounter such as save points and closets and stalls to hide in. When you have no idea where the nearest save point is, it makes it all the more frustrating when you get killed and set back once again. One last thing I want to bring up is specific to the PC version. It's very much possible to play this game one-handed. No, not like that, you perv. All the key mappings are allocated around the buttons where your left hand is located, and you cannot remap your keys. Having this many actions needed to be performed by your left hand will make things confusing in your playthrough of the game, so you're better off using a controller for this experience. Now, it's time to hand out this game's report card as we head into the opinion. The Coma Recut is a nice Korean horror game packed with thrills and chills, with a strong emphasis on surviving and use of sound to stay on alert for certain hazards. I like the way the game delivers background info to you about the school and faculty through the notes you find while exploring, which gives nice glimpses as to what's been happening on campus. You'll want to play this game at night in a dark room with headphones on to really get the full horror experience. I do recommend having a guide handy and a map if you will be going for the true ending to avoid the headache of having to constantly replay the game to find the one thing you did not do that locked you out of the true end. There is also a sequel out which I hope makes gameplay improvements to make the experience more enjoyable, but that'll be for another day. And now it's time for this game's final grade. I would give the Coma Recut this equation you should be able to solve out of 10. What? You can't solve it? Well, see you after class. If you enjoyed today's review, feel free to check out some of our other videos and subscribe for more. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and our Facebook page. Once again, thank you for watching.